Hey everybody, this is Charles Morgan from Comic Week, and I'm here with Brianna Beebe from Alpha Comics, and I think we've just spent the better part of, what, 3 or 4 hours unboxing 20, 30 boxes from Diamond, and this December 18th new comic book day is probably the biggest one in a long time.
Oh yeah, most definitely. And part of the reason why is the 26th, which is going to be the next release date. Yes, comics are going to be pushed back a day. Officially, everything's coming out on the 26th because of a particular holiday known as Christmas. Don't know if you've heard of it, but it's happening on the 25th.
It's a big thing in this country.
Yeah, I guess. But anyways, pretty much all of those titles, for the most part, got moved to this one because people are trying to, I assume, be in before that particular holiday. So that 26th is actually going to be a very, very small selection of books.
Well, it's a good thing. I mean, once I started to see what was coming out this week, at the late last week as we were preparing for this, I had to inform everybody in my family that they wouldn't be getting Christmas because of all the stuff that's coming out this week that I'd have to buy. I don't think I've seen a week where there's just pretty much like every third comic is on my pull list.
Well, and it's also a lot of big titles, like big titles. Doomsday Clocks is going to be finally finishing up, a lot of stuff like that. That it's larger quantity titles that are making it kind of pushed out. Like our black tables are filled with stuff that's not even on the wall that you see in the back because there's so many things.
Yeah, I think you guys, since you guys organize everything A to Z, you didn't even make it past the S this week.
Yeah. Shazam was our cutoff, and then everything else is not there yet, but we have a lot of more things to do tonight, so it'll probably get more condensed as we go.
Well, we're going to go through real quick the titles we're definitely looking forward to reading on a personal level, and then we got this enormous stack of number ones to go through, and the week for me is going to start with a couple titles that are just the most readable comics out now. I really dig what's happening with DC Comics collaboration with Joe Hill. I am very much looking forward to seeing A Basket Full of Heads number 3. This is sort of a horror title that has a little bit of a supernatural element, but it's still so much grounded in like realism that it just really pays off. So I don't want to spoil it for you, but go pick up the first 2 issues. I'm sure you'll still be able to find them, and then get into this 3rd issue and get on the Joe Hill train, because it is very exciting comics.
Well, and they're really cool, like, horror titles, and like you said, it's probably going to be pretty easy to find them just because, like, I know we got quite a few of them, not like terrifying quantities, but enough that there's probably 1 and 2 chilling around. So this is going to be a big book that I've had lots and lots of people commenting on.
Yeah.
So this one's going to be kind of big if you've been waiting on this title, because it's been a while since number 2 came out.
It's the end of the Scott Snyder run, which began in 2011, if you can believe it.
Yeah, it's actually kind of neat that, like, the Black Label stuff being only 3 parts is kind of cool for a lot of it.
Another Batman title, which I've actually read. I'm not going to spoil it for you. Might have accidentally spoiled it for the people here, but it's Batman number 85. This is the end of the Tom King run. Of course, a new creative team is going to take over, and this is an epic-sized finale, and I think this wraps up King's run in the most perfect way possible. It's just an amazing culmination of what's been going on the last 3 years of Batman. I'm really excited about reading this one again and again. It's really beautiful. I think since, essentially for me, King has kicked it into overdrive since issue number 69 of this run. So it's been over a year of just great titles, and you definitely want to pick up Batman. Believe it or not, if you feel like, oh, I'm over Batman and I like the detective run better, it's a fair opinion and you're entitled to it, but do not sleep on Tom King's run. It is underrated, and I think in the years to come, people will look back at it and think how good it was.
Another one I have is going to be Blade Runner. This is another one that I've had a lot of people excited about, that it was a very interesting book and it seemed to kind of fit well in the already established Blade Runner franchise. Because I haven't really heard any complaints from people about it. That's always surprising with something that kind of has a pretty solid cult following.
Yeah, and it had that really hot Art Germ cover for number 1, and it's been a pretty tight title since then.
This is another one that's super duper popular with us. Critical Role is going to be a D&D live play that you can watch/listen to. And it has a comic book that's actually pretty fantastical. The art's actually really solid in it, and the storyline's really interesting. So even if you're not a fan of the original stuff, it's still a cool book. Or if you are a fan of the original stuff, it's still a cool book.
Now, speaking of D&D, yesterday, Alex from Alpha Comics, your business associate and friend, had a live performance of her D&D podcast, Quid Pro Roll, in Richmond. So tell me how that went.
It went really well. They were expecting roughly about like 30 people, and it was like almost 60. So
Wow.
pretty much doubled when this was the first like live action anything they had done for that podcast, and it's been going on for a little bit over a year. So this was really cool because they had to have a birthday celebration that was much more of a bang than they expected.
And
Great.
they even had a themed menu, didn't they?
Yes, there was turkey legs abound. Alex was telling me a bunch of stuff because unfortunately I couldn't go because I had to be here. But hopefully next time around I'll actually get to have the fun outside of the shop. Who knows? I just kind of live inside the walls.
Cool. Getting back to titles, we have Catwoman number 18. Of course, you're looking at Joel Jones' amazing artwork. Zatanna appears in this issue, so that's really cool. And getting to some of the more personal fare for me, one of my favorite titles of all time, Savage Dragon, number 247 is out, and this is the first appearance of Demon King, and this is just, if you like superhero goofiness, this is a title for you.
Yeah, another one I'm showcasing is Doomsday Clock. This is the final issue. It is in my hands. It will be coming out on the 18th. It is here. It is a thing. It is not a myth. The series that was supposed to end in a year, and it feels like it's been going on for a century, and it's only 12 books. It's there. So yeah, that is a thing. I've had a bajillion and 5 people and a gentleman today asking me about Doomsday Clock. So it's a big book. It looks like this is going to culminate in a clash of 2 very, very large titans, one very blue and one wears blue. So things are happening.
So did the Watchmen HBO series have any impact on the popularity of the title?
The popularity of the title held its own for the most part, because even though it's taken so long to finish up, it has been immensely consistent, and people have been willing to put up with it. It's that level of good. So, take that with what you will. There is a graphic novel of, I think, the first 6 issues out. They haven't done a graphic novel of the rest of the issues, obviously, because this one hasn't come out yet. But we still have a bunch of the back issues, so if you fell off and you're kind of waiting till 12, we still have a bunch of stuff if you are looking to get those back in. I also have 2 Black Label titles of the larger format that are coming out today. We have Harleen and then Joker. So if you're a fan of these 2, then they're finally coming out as well.
And a Wonder Woman title also is going to be coming out this week.
Yep. That's going to be of those kind of oversized magazines.
I'm a big fan of Black Hammer. I think it's a great comic series. You have a new title in that universe. This is Skull Digger and Skeleton Boy. Some similarities to a Batman story, but with a really, really major twist. And it's got art by Tansi Zanjic, so you definitely want to check that out if you're a fan of Black Hammer. Also, nobody knew what this was going to be until it came out. In fact, actually, you guys alphabetized everything, and you're gonna have to re-alphabetize it because you didn't even know the title. And this is the new title from Millar World. This is American Jesus, which is I guess it's the sequel to Chosen, which he put out before. So this is certainly going to be a controversial title, just in time for the holidays.
Of course.
And,
of course.
And another controversial title is Money Shot. This is number 3 from Vault. This is probably going to be bagged and boarded at your local shop for obvious reasons. But this is a fun sort of space sex comedy, and this is a title that's well written, well drawn, and something you might want to pick up if you're into that kind of mature fare.
Another one I have is going to be Legions of Superheroes. This title is super big for our shop. I don't know your local shop is going to have it quite as big as ours, but again, very consistent following, very much people very excited to finally see a larger gambit of these older DC characters that really haven't made an appearance in a hot minute. One I'm excited for that I need to catch up on, and I'm super behind. I just finally finished Kanto, and this is next on my list because I really like it because it's very zany. I just think this cover is fantastic. I don't know what the implication of this is, as if Jimmy Olsen's gonna find the Batcave, but if he does, that would be awesome.
Some big,
Just so much hijinks could happen.
pretty big shoes to fill. You better hope he doesn't run into Bane.
Oh gosh, yeah, no, that'd be super bad. Also, Spider-Man. Just Spider-Man title. This is another big one that a lot of people have talked about in my shop and how much they're enjoying it. Especially it being kind of a departure from the traditional Spider-Man fare, being kind of this almost alternative universe where things happen and children are to be had. So it's going to be kind of not the same thing as Renew Your Vows because it's a different storyline, but if you kind of liked that idea of Peter having a family, it might not be a bad one, although this one does take a more dramatic turn in a couple of places.
Right.
And then Superman smashes the Klan. This one's I'm very excited for because it is based off of one of the radio episodes, but going with kind of a more modern twist, so it's very on the pulse of current events and what's happening.
Well, anytime someone gets to smash the Klan, it's a good day.
Yeah, exactly. Alright, and last but not least, Vampirella reprints. This is also technically a facsimile reprint, and it's going to be introducing a very semi-important character depending on what type of Vampirella you're consuming at the time, but a nonetheless really neat character. I always thought her design was always really cool.
There's another great facsimile issue coming out this week too, and that's going to be from Marvel. This is the Eternals #1. So I think we're going to be seeing a lot more of the Eternals in the MCU soon. So this is really cool. And I also love the original ads. There's a great ad for these monogram cars, which I remember being a big consumer of back when I was a younger person. So let's go over this week's #1s. This isn't the end of it. All right, so from Boom Studios, you have Klaus, okay? And this has a multitude of covers. From Dark Horse Comics, you have Tales from Harrow County, okay? The Batman Who Laughs has infected the Commissioner, Commissioner Gordon. So that's not a good thing. Another Joe Hill title is The Lolo Woods, which comes out. I think these are the sort of the basis of this is there's a small town in New England, of course, where everyone has lost their memories, and there's this horror story surrounding that. So we'll see how that goes.
All right, and then we have Suicide Squad. That is going to be having this issue. Apparently, there's going to be a lot of character death, if the cover is any indicator. Then we have 2099. It's going to have a special issue. You're going to see a lot of these floating around because they've had quite a few already, and it's only been out for a smidgen. All right, and this is going to be Omega, which is going to be the tail end of it. So.
Right.
All right. Alienation, not alienation.
Annihilation.
Annihilation is going to be continuing on with this title, which is going to be Omega as well. It's going to be the counteractive to Alpha. It's supposed to tie up all those loose ends, or just leave enough loose ends that they can make another 12-part miniseries.
Right.
Then we have Marvel Tales Annihilation. So this is going to be reprints of older issues, all in kind of a one-bound issue. Like they've done ones for Captain America, Iron Man, all that sort of stuff. So if you're looking for something that's going to kind of encapsulate older stories like that, maybe the newest version with Annihilation Scourge wasn't quite what you were looking for it to be, you can always get the older stuff. Revenge of the Cosmic Ghost Rider. I don't know why he needs revenge, but he needs revenge.
Right. There's a small art film coming out in another week or so called Star Wars. You may have heard of it. So there are a few titles to tie in with that. There's going to be #1 greatest hits of Star Wars Adventures. We also have Star Wars Empire Ascendant, #1, and the origin story of a young man named Kylo Ren.
Mm-hmm. Yep. All right, and then we have Narcos. It looks like this is going to have to deal with something with narcotics and probably the cartel. That's just my assumption based off of the cover. I have no other information besides that. It could be completely different. It's about little girls dressing up and riding ponies, but I haven't looked inside the book, so I don't know.
Drug ponies.
No, thank you. I can't even read this.
That is read-only memories, right?
Yes. It's because the memories is bigger than the read-only. I'm just like, memories? This is about memories. Yes. Wellington. This is going to be another #1 from the creator of Lore. Ooh.
Yes,
fancy.
IDW title. From Image, we have the Old Guard, Force Multiplied, and Hardware Reloaded. from Scout Comics.
This sounded so cute, and it's not. It's so scary looking.
Yes, apparently there's a lot of flesh eating.
Oh, thank you.
And let's see, do insides stay insides? Just barely. Maria Lovett's Heartbeat's out this week. Mirka Andolfo's Unsacred #2 is out this week. There's quite a bit more that we didn't even cover, a lot of X titles.
Yeah, I couldn't show off all the X titles because I think it's almost every single X-Men title in existence.
Right. So that about, like I said, about wraps it up. You know, check your naughty and nice list, and if anybody's even like on the borderline of naughty, just cut them out entirely so you can save up your money to get the comics. And we'll see you at the shop when it opens in a few hours. Take care, everybody.